Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have yet another account with a dogman, as well as an account with a very bizarre couple of monsters that were seen by two young witnesses. Both articles are truly astounding and fun to read through, folks. So let's start off with the first one: White Upright Canine Encounter near Wilmore Reservoir, Cambria County. Leaves fishermen stunned. Let's get into the account by reading the opening and then read the entire, fisherman's tale. Dusk sailed over Wilmore Reservoir when a quiet evening of fishing took a dramatic turn. An older fisherman from Portridge witnessed something he could not explain: a towering white wolf-like figure that moved on two legs and watched him from the tree line. His report adds a disturbing new layer to a series of upright canine sightings that continue to surface across Cambria County. I received a telephone call from an eyewitness who claims to have observed an upright canine in Cambria County, Pennsylvania. The eyewitness, an older gentleman named John, stated that he had been fishing at the Wilmore Reservoir on Friday, June 1st, 2018. At dusk, between 8 o'clock and 8:30 p.m., he noticed something at the edge of the nearby woods, a bipedal creature. As he focused on it, he soon realized it was white and resembled a wolf on two legs watching him. John described the creature as completely white with fur and skin and featuring a large wolf-like head. The body was tapered with a skinny waist and a thick, muscular chest. The arms were long and muscular, ending in long fingers, and the two legs were sturdy, displaying a well-defined muscular build. While the arms, legs, and head were covered in fur, the torso and chest had sparse fur coverage. He estimated that the creature's height was at least 7 feet. Well, I'm not surprised to hear that, folks, and it's not surprising to hear another story about a 7 to 8 foot tall, fur-covered creature in the woods being sighted. But, folks, let's continue with this story and hear the rest of this fisherman's story. The creature looked at John for several seconds before turning to its right and walking along the edge of the woods for about 20 to 30 feet, after which it ducked into the trees. Although a few other people were nearby, none reacted to the sighting, and I think John here wished that they did so they could back him up. John was initially hesitant to report what he had seen, but later found my Google advertisement for sightings. He agreed to discuss the sighting by phone, but does not wish to be contacted in person. He resides in Portridge, Pennsylvania, a town where 3 other sightings have been reported in recent years. The Pennsylvanian Lichen Investigations Team has visited Portridge and spoken with other witnesses. The exact location of this sighting is being withheld while our team follows up on this report. So, what do you think actually was seen there, folks? Was it really some sort of white dog man, some upright canine? Or do you think it was some sort of, maybe, forest spirit, perhaps, folks? Or some other entity? Maybe a skinwalker? Or maybe just a shapeshifter, folks? We don't know. Either way, there's a little commentary, so let's continue with that now, and maybe it'll give us a better idea. This report stands out due to its clarity, proximity, and strong physical detail. Descriptions of a white upright canine are less common than typical dark-furred variants, yet similar white or pale forms have appeared sporadically in Appalachian reports. The witness displays the classic emotional arc seen in credible cases: initial shock followed by hesitation and delayed reporting. His account aligns with 3 other Portridge area sightings, suggesting either a recurring individual creature or a localized territory. The physical structure he describes, specifically the thin waist combined with a muscular chest and elongated arms with fingers, matches both modern upright canine profiles and specific interdimensional entity patterns reported in remote viewing sessions. Whether flesh and blood or ultra-terrestrial, the consistency across independent witnesses in the Portridge region warrants continued investigation. So, that is indeed a very interesting thing, isn't it, folks? That all of these different reports from basically people just literally, being at seances and basically, seeing these creatures, they all line up so well. So maybe these creatures are indeed real, folks. And it makes you think what is truly out there is beyond belief. Either way, folks, let's move on to the next article. 2 different monsters were revealed in one tree on the night of the storm. Now, everyone, this is a particularly bizarre story because the witnesses describe 2 different monsters from their perspective, folks. And what is even mind-blowing, it was as if they could see through each other's eyes, folks, these two different monsters at the same time that they were both looking at. So, that beggars the question of exactly what they did see. So, let's continue with this article, folks, and read the entirety of it. A childhood storm turned unforgettable when two brothers saw a creature in a barren tree, yet each saw a completely different monster staring back at them. What appeared and vanished in the flash of lightning still raises the question of whether some entities show more than one face at the same time. And we'll talk more about that idea after we finish off their story. When I was a little boy, I lived in a tiny 2-bedroom house with my parents and 4 siblings. One night, my brother and I stood at the front window, staring outside as it rained. Despite the lightning and thunder, it was a strangely quiet moment for us. We stood there, mesmerized by the sound of raindrops pattering against the cold glass drawn to the troubled sky. However, most of our attention was focused on the tree. And I imagine in a moment, folks, what was actually in this tree. And what it probably is, we can discuss in a moment, because it's certainly giving me food for thought about what these boys actually encountered. But let's continue with their report. There was only one tree in our front yard, a cruel-looking, rotting thing that never had any leaves. That particular night, the wind whipped it into a horrible frenzy, its spindly black branches thrashing against the storm, as though it resented every stinging drop of rain. Wordlessly, we stood just far enough away from the glass to avoid fogging it. Suddenly, a tremendous streak of lightning illuminated the sky, and in the branches staring down at us was a deformed creature the likes of which I had never seen. In that moment, several realizations struck me all at once. 1. It was solid. 2. It stood on 2 feet, on one particular branch in one specific part of the tree. 3. It knew we were there. 4. My brother saw it too. 5. I was simultaneously seeing it through my own eyes and my brother's eyes, and they were not the same. To me, the creature appeared to be a grotesque caricature of a farmer, an oddly flattened and deformed cartoon figure wearing a flannel shirt, overalls, and a head-splitting grin, holding a metal pitchfork at his right side. Now, if you actually saw a cartoon character in real life, folks, I imagine you'd actually be completely horrified. And the fact that this boy saw what was going through, well, his brother's head at the same time he was seeing this creature, folks, that is telling. Almost as if these entity or entities were projecting these thoughts and, well, images into these boys' heads. Now, let's continue, though, because this is certainly very fascinating. At the same time, I realized that what my brother saw in that very same space was a similarly deformed creature of a skeleton with thick bones and empty eye sockets. The lightning flickered and then blinked out, and in the fraction of a second it took to adjust to the dim glow of the distant clouds that black-lit the tree, it became clear that there was no longer anything there. When one experiences a shock that is so tremendous it surpasses tears, like a spectacular blow to the head or an unexpected bone snapping, there is only the wait. Wait until the overwhelming sensation washes over you. Will you feel pain? Will you lose consciousness? There is only the wait. My head filled with a heavy rush of blood that battered the insides of my eardrums. Slowly, I turned to my brother beside me, and my eyes moving in an arc that traversed the fence, the porch posts, the window frame, the wall, and finally rested on his face. In his eyes was reflected the fullness of my experience. We didn't say a word to each other. There was no need. I was only 6 or 7 at the time. In the years that followed, I saw nothing remotely like the creature in the tree. My father eventually cut the tree down, but I don't know why. We never did tell him in. Now, I can imagine why the father cut down this tree, folks. It was old and it was creepy looking and just gave you a bad feeling from just looking at it. I imagine he just cut it down because it was just better for him and his family. Either way, if this tree was haunted by something, or if there was some sort of entity, well, that was in that tree that night, folks, we just don't know. Either way, certainly interesting, but we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you hit the part of the bell that give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.